Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to this week's recap video. I'm going to answer a bunch of questions from last week's videos, but before we get into that, there's a couple of really exciting things that I wanted to share with you that happened this week, starting with this. We received our gold plaque from YouTube for surpassing 1 million subscribers on our main channel, which is so incredibly exciting. Erin is silently celebrating behind the camera right now. We hit the milestone a couple of weeks ago, I think now. So it took a little while to get here, and when we opened this up the other day, I was just like super exciting all over again. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that our channel might be the first gardening related channel that has reached 1 million, right?
I think so.
If there is another one, I should probably know, so let me know in the comment section below. A few others that are getting really close. Kevin from Epic Gardening, his channel blew up this spring. He does urban gardening. He's in California, I think Southern California. Food production, all organic growing, and that's been a huge thing this year, and so his channel's just exploded, which is so exciting. And then MI Gardener is getting close. I can't remember where he's at, but he's been at it for a long time. His passion is gardening, and it really, like, a lot of good information on his channel. And then Plantarina, who deals with just houseplants, really, mainly, I think. Does she do anything else?
No,
I mean, I think everything I've seen is all houseplants, which is awesome too. I mean, I know that's a huge trend right now. And at the rate her channel's going, I think she'll hit 1 million in no time. I think she's well over 500,000. So, and it's, you know, I've said it before, it's not so much about the numbers. I mean, that is exciting. It helps you, I don't know, it helps you like keep going to know people are interested in what you're doing, and it's humbling, but it also shows that there's a really huge interest in gardening, and that is exciting. Whether it's food production or flowers or houseplants or all the above, it's just exciting to know that that interest is there. So anyway, this was so exciting. And then we received, hold on, I got a hair on it, our silver plaque for surpassing 100,000 subscribers on our Garden Answer Highlights channel, which is the channel you're watching this video on right now. This is our second channel that we started really just to be highlights, because some of our videos are really long. And I know not everybody has time or really wants to watch videos that long. So Erin was like, you know what, I think we could condense a lot of these videos and get the information out there still, but maybe in a quicker manner. So he was working on just condensing videos and then putting them on our highlights channel. And then it kind of became a spot where we put all of our weekly recaps, because those videos come up so frequently, once a week. We didn't want a recap video every single week taking up a video slot. We wanted it to be an actual project video, because we get so behind. We get like a lot of videos backed up sometimes because we have so much going on that we try to film. And then we put mail times on here or extra content or whatever. So anyway, I mean, apparently over 100,000 of you guys have liked it well enough to subscribe, or good enough. Well enough?
Well enough.
Well enough? I never know which word to say. Anyway, so that's really exciting. So we now have 3 YouTube plaques. We have the silver from our first channel and the gold, and silver for our second channel, and they will all go up in a little collage on our wall together. Anyway, just wanted to share. So thank you guys so much for that. It's awesome. Okay, so we're just gonna jump right into the videos. First one from this past week was drying apples. Kind of a random video, but it does kind of have to do with gardening. I mean, apples grow on a tree, and it was really smoky outside, and we needed to just kind of stay inside if we could, and had been really wanting to start drying some things. So Melissa said, me literally never thought of dehydrating anything ever. Laura posted a video, me, I needed dehydrator. I so feel that. There's a lot of things that people do, or like you guys do, and you'll post a picture, share a picture. I'm like, ooh, maybe I should do some of that. It's so fun how we feed off of each other that way. Sarah said, as someone who used to cook professionally for 10 years, I can tell you that your fear of the mandolin is totally justified. Yeah, that thing. I barely ever get it out. In fact, the only time I get it out is for apple slicing. I never get it out for anything else because I'm too afraid of that thing. It's so sharp, the blade is. Whew. But it does make for incredibly even cutting, and when you're drying things, that's really important. And I'm not so good with my knife skills. Like, if I tried to hand cut everything, I'd have to check that dehydrator every hour to pull out stuff that was thinner, and it would just be a kind of a mess. Alexandra said, have you ever put cinnamon on the slices or cinnamon sugar? I have. I actually prefer just the plain apples. I do love cinnamon flavored stuff, but dehydrated apples, I don't know if I'm doing it wrong. I don't think I'm doing it wrong. Like, you just sprinkle cinnamon on, right? I just like the plain ones. Jenny said, what on earth is fruit leather? Fruit leather is like fruit roll-ups, basically, except for usually a healthier version. You're making your own and you're using sugar substitutes a lot, or not. Sometimes you can just dehydrate certain things like strawberries and apples, and you don't need sugar, and they're amazingly sweet. And I don't know, like if I haven't made fruit leather yet. That's on the list, but I think we'll barrel through that, don't you think, Erin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be gone in no time. That's the problem with dehydrating stuff, and that's why I bought the bigger dehydrator, was because I had the 2 round ones, and it takes so much, really, it takes a lot of stuff, like not a lot of supplies. I don't know, it's a process, I think is what I'm trying to say. It's a process to prep your fruit, and then it takes 8 hours in the dehydrator, and then we eat them all, like straight out of the dehydrator. I'm like, what did I just do? That just took forever. But if you have a lot of dehydrator space, or if you just make it a routine, then I think it's worth it. And that's why, one, I wanted to get a new dehydrator for more drying space, but I also wanted to get one that looked nicer. And I know that sounds dumb, but I wanted to get one that kind of matches my appliances so I could keep it on my kitchen counter and not have it be an eyesore. And if it's out on the counter, I am more likely to use it more. And so far, I've really been liking that dehydrator. M. Baker said, how do you store the fruit after it's been dehydrated? You just put it in something airtight. So you could put it in a jar that has a lid that seals. We put them in like gallon freezer Ziploc bags, and they should store for quite a long time. Next video was fall containers. Charlie said, love the fall planters. How do you winterize all your drip in beds and containers? This is my first year doing drip. Would you consider doing a how-to video for us newbies? Well, the how-to video would be really, really quick because we don't do anything. Drip just stays out. It releases naturally all the water. It all seeps out of the emitter holes, and you don't have to blow out your drip lines. We blow out our sprinkler lines that don't have, you know, like the solid sprinkler lines. That all gets blown out, but drip lines just lay in the flower beds and lay on top of the pots for the winter, and they winter over just fine for us. Ashley said, is there a particular variety of corn to grow for a nice corn stalk? I don't know, every single variety I've grown has been pretty good. However, the sweetness variety that I planted late this year, and this happened to my brother too, he planted it in May, I planted mine in July, and they both produced really short stalks. So I didn't really read up about that variety, and maybe that's just what that variety does. But every other variety of sweet corn that I have grown produces beautiful, nice stalks like that. And the variety I grew was ambrosia. I love that corn. Joyce said, do you recommend pruning hydrangea in the fall? I would probably stay away from that. I mean, you certainly could if you just wanted to clip the spent blooms off, if they're not like, if they haven't colored up nicely. Sometimes, like I'll have some brown blooms on mine that have dried and they missed the coloring up stage, and I'll snip those off just right below the bloom. But the time that I prune hydrangeas is typically, I only prune arborescens and paniculata type hydrangeas. Those are the only 2 that bloom on new wood. There are some types of serratas, maybe macrophyllus, I don't know, that bloom on old and new wood, but I feel like those types of hydrangeas, just don't prune on them because you're just safer that way. But paniculata and arborescens bloom on new wood, so that's like your limelight, like the ones that produce the kind of pointy panicle, and then the arborescens are the Annabelle type that produce the big round white blooms. And then I think that there's some arborescens that are pink blooms. Anyway, those will be pruned late winter, early spring when their buds start to swell. So you'll see those buds on the sides of the stalk start to swell and get a little bit green. That's the best time to prune them because you can see if there are any dead branches at that point, and you can cut those out. And then you'll want to take your stalk down to the strongest, the first set of buds that look the strongest. And that way you can get rid of any potential weak growth. We've done videos about it. We'll try to link the one. In fact, we did one this last spring. We'll link down below. Leda said, hi, I just recently stumbled into your videos. Where did you obtain your big planters? Those are from Unique Stone. And I love their stuff. In fact, we've got a big, beautiful load coming this week that we're going to unbox for you. I'm so excited. The thing about them is they are wholesale. You do have to source them through a retailer. So the way you can do that, you can go to Unique Stone's website. We'll link it below. There is a dealer locator where you put in your zip code, and it'll put the nearest dealer to your location so that you can talk through them and they can order through Unique Stone. If your local garden center doesn't show up on that dealer locator, definitely just talk to the person, manager, or owner of that garden center and see if that's something that they'd be willing to order in for you. They've got gorgeous stuff. Jeremy said, what makes mums perennial? I bought zone 5 and live in a zone 5, but they weren't labeled perennial. They should come back, right? I do have really good luck with mums coming back every single year. The ones that my parents' garden center sells are all perennial. There are some that are annual. So just double check the tag. And what I do is just usually either cut them back late in the fall after they're all done blooming, or you can just leave them till spring and cut them back at that point, and we always see a nice flush. The thing about mums, though, is that if they're a perennial and come back for you, you do have to pinch them back or cut them back by about half twice, usually in May and then once beginning to mid part of June. That way you're encouraging the growth to be denser and shorter. Otherwise, they do have a propensity to grow a little bit taller, and then they bloom on the ends and kind of want to flop over. So if you pinch them back, asters are the same way. If you cut them back a little bit in May and June, it does help their growth be a lot more thick and dense and a lot more blooms. Next video was tree arrival. So we decided to do this project in the fall rather than next spring. We ordered 30 autumn blaze maples that are just, they're gorgeous. They are planted. We did film a video, so that will be coming up like when, Aaron, do you know, like tomorrow or next day?
Not really sure.
I'm not sure when this video is even going to go up. Yeah. So this week, it'll be up this week, and they are just, they're perfect. And I'm really not sure what made us decide to do it this fall rather than spring, other than the fact that I think the planting window rather is just perfect when we got them in the ground. They still have plenty of time to root in. Like our 10-day forecast is gorgeous. High 70s, 80, high 40s, 50s at night, and everything looks sunny, and it just looks like a gorgeous forecast. So they'll have time to sit there and root in. Anyway, in that video, we unloaded the trees, we placed them, and just kind of shared our vision for the entryway of our property. Carol said, have you thought about staggering your trees instead of having 2 at the same spot either side of you? You know what? I did see that comment quite often, like just do every other one. And I think that would do something to my brain. What kind of brain is that, Aaron? Like I need everything to be very like formal and balanced. And I wanted a very formal entryway of trees. And I think if I staggered them, like I get what you're saying, it would be like, you know, the canopies would all interlock and fit together. But I needed that symmetry. Kelly said, this is beautiful. I can't wait to see them mature. Have you thought about a garden answer long sleeve shirt? Yes. In fact, Aaron was just telling me the other day that we needed to work on our merch. We probably should, Aaron. It's like the lowest thing on my priority list, to be completely honest with you. Merch is a little bit hard. Who do we work through before Teespring? And you can still order stuff, but we haven't done any new anything. It's all just very basic t-shirts and sweatshirts.
And why is that?
And it's because of me. Because I drag my feet on stuff like that. Like Aaron wants to put Russell on one of the shirts, and I would never wear a shirt with a cat on it. And so if I can't picture myself wearing it, then I have a hard time selling it. I know, and I know that's wrong because I know there's like tons of different people with different, preferences in this land. But I don't know. I just am a little bit picky about stuff, which doesn't even show because our merch isn't even like eyebrow or anything. T-shirts and sweatshirts. Anyway. Maybe we'll get after that. Hillary said, did you move the second estate planner that was at your original property entrance? I must have missed it. We did. Aaron actually picked it up with the tractor and moved it over to the other end of the fence. Can't remember why, because we're getting rid of that fence pretty quick here. Yeah. Our power poles that are up there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we might get a 6th one. They're all coming down this next month in October. We're having all the electricity buried up there. It's going to change the front of this property so much. And I'm so looking forward to it. And I think that was in preparation, kind of. We'll need to move the other one, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll both have to be moved.
We'll probably give them away.
Yeah, we probably will give them away. So if you're local, be waiting for that. In fact, we just cleaned out one of our bays of the barn. And, people that come and go and help us with projects and stuff, we always give them first shot at anything that they want that we're giving away. And then we just put everything for free on Facebook Marketplace, right? Is that where you put it? Mm-hmm. And just say, we want it gone today. If you want to come get it today. We have a pile of stuff sitting outside of our barn right now. Lisa said, where did you buy your autumn blaze maple trees? We sourced them through my parents' garden center through the grower J.F. Schmidt. We will link it down below. They are also a wholesaler, but they sell trees everywhere, and they've got really good quality stuff, and it's somewhere my parents have been ordering from for as long as I can remember. Sandra said, does Aaron have a tractor mounted auger to dig those large holes for the maples? No, he doesn't, but we did rent a 36-inch auger to make the hole digging go a lot quicker, and it was super, super helpful. Kathy said, I'm so in love with what you're doing down your driveway with your trees. That's going to be beautiful. This is not garden related, but could you please tell me where your husband's shirts come from? Eddie Bauer. Eddie Bauer. Susan said, you said you won't be recording the planting of the trees, but I'm one of the people who loves to watch the process. Maybe some sneak peeks as the trees are being planted. And yes, I did say that we probably wouldn't film planting the trees because I personally wasn't going to be doing it, but we decided to make a video out of it anyway. That is coming up. I think I already said that. But we did, like Aaron mainly planted the first tree, so we showed you our whole process, the amendments we added in for our specific soil type, and that sort of thing. And then the guys that we had help us, they came in and did all the rest of them. But we did film all of it, so you'll get to see them putting all of them down into the ground. Cassie said, I have a big question, huge. I recently bought a house with a backyard that holds water. I had one of those in my last garden. Binging some of your past videos, I learned willows soak up lots of water. Am I remembering that right? Yes, willows love water. The backyard has plenty of trees as it is, but I'm wondering if any other plants are known for this, or any other suggestions on what to do with a rather soggy backyard space. So in terms of trees, I mean, definitely willows, birch, alders really love water and they're gorgeous, so are birch trees. Hibiscus, like the big dinner plate size blooms, like Summerific Holy Grail, the Berry Awesome, there's a whole bunch of them. They are actually considered a bog plant. And so, I mean, they don't look like they would be, but they are. So those tolerate a lot of water. Joe Pye weed, asters, dogwoods, if you need some shrubs. Dogwoods really like quite a bit of water. I'm trying to think of what else. I grew currants in my backyard down where there used to be standing water, and they did great, like Red Lake currants. There's a whole bunch of other varieties, and beautiful shrub, and you can pick the currants and eat them. What else? What else did I have back there that did so well? You could definitely plant tuts, king tut, prince tut, baby tut. Those grasses prefer a lot of water. They are an annual in most colder climates, but they, like especially the king tuts, they'll get quite large in one season and they can handle a lot. Next video was harvesting and drying peppers. So I just had a bunch of the hot and heavy peppers from Proven Winners that I needed to harvest. I still have a bunch more out there to pick. And I thought I need to get some of these strung up and drying. So that's what we did in the video. I just showed you how I do it. Aline said, can you dry jalapenos this way too? Yes. Kelly said, great harvest and so beautiful. Maybe this is a silly question, but after they dry, how do you use them? Do you just cut them up to use, or do you grind them into a powder? I've never grown peppers, so don't know the process. I use them a couple of different ways. Like I'll cut them up kind of finely-ish, and we'll sprinkle them on pasta dishes. We'll sprinkle them on top of pizza, and I'll use them that way a lot. We also, like I'll chop them up and put them in chilies a lot, and different kinds of soups and stews. That's mainly how I use them. Muhammad said, hey, is your patio air conditioned during the winter, or does the lemon tree just stay warm enough without conditioning? So this porch area where my citrus stay, like I do have a lime that's got a bunch of limes on it and a lemon with a bunch of lemons. The variegated lemon that usually sits right back here, it had aphids, and it also it got dried way too down in here. So I moved it outside into a shady spot, and we've been watering it, keeping out there, and it's doing a lot better. So I'll move it back in when it gets a little bit cooler out. But last year I kept him in here. It is not air conditioned. It is not heated. It is closed off though. Like the door's closed. There's a big gap under the doors though, and lots of air gets in here. So it stays warmer than, you know, the temperature outside by a little bit. But I ran a little floor heater, like a little tiny one that kicked on when it got down to a certain amount. I can't remember what I had it set at. Anyway, it just took the edge off in here, and the citrus did great. Anything I put out here did really well. So I think I'll try that again this year. It wouldn't work if it was a really severe winter. I'd have to bring them inside. But I feel like citrus do so much better if they don't have to ever come inside. Wendy said, I've seen hot pepper wreaths as well. Would it be possible to have you show how to make one in a video? So I Googled that after I read that comment, and I was like, oh, that is so pretty. The dried pepper wreaths. I've never made one before. And the peppers that I see are being used are like Thai chili type. They're like really skinny, and you use a ton of them in a wreath. And I don't know how it would go using these thicker peppers, the bigger. I mean, it might work. I might try it. I don't know. I might have to do one on my own though before I try to film the process, because it might be a flop for me. But I love that idea. Javier said, what is the name of the fertilizer that was used when first planting? Spoma Biotone Starter Fertilizer, and then I also sprinkled a little bit of their land and sea compost in the area. And then Vicky said, what's the best way to take the pepper off? Usually if you just kind of give it a bend, it just pops right off of the wire. And that's kind of one of the other beauties of using wire as opposed to thread. Thread, it's a little harder because you don't get the resistance, it's not as hard. So you really have to kind of like hold on to the string of peppers while you're popping one off. But the wire is strong enough, it just, I don't know, creates its own tension there. Next video was how to control spider mites. And we are dealing with spider mites on our boxwoods this year. We deal with them every year in some capacity. Some years are better or worse than others. And I'd mentioned that we were going to do a video on it, and a lot of you guys were like, where's the video? So I was glad, one, to see that there was interest in learning about that, but I was also really happy with the response that you guys gave to that video. I'm always a little tentative talking about pesticides because it's like opening a can of worms. And I try to be very objective about all things in life. I try to keep an open mind and try not to, what's the word? Like, I try not to
overreact.
No, well, I don't know if overreact is the right word, but I think that a lot of things in sprays, both organic and synthetic, have their places, and I think education is key. And so I feel like whenever I do a video like that, I feel a responsibility to kind of present all sides and let you guys make up your own mind on that sort of thing. And then also share my personal experience, because I read a lot of things like, you must do this organically and it must be done this way. Well, I've tried so many different things that have not worked that I try to be like, I want to share my honest opinion on what things are working and what hasn't worked for me in the past. So we talked about what spider mites are. I went through 9 different sprays that you can use on spider mites, and some of the like kind of things that you need to know in terms of like spider mites build up a resistance to pesticides. So you have to swap what kind of spray you're using. So you're using a different active ingredient on them. You also can't just spray them once and have it be done. It's usually a 3 to 6 week cycle depending on what the infestation is like. So anyway, Kimberly said, I don't have boxwoods. Does that mean I won't have spider mites? No. What else do they feed on? Everything. Like, if they found my citrus, they would be on that. They like hydrangeas, they like roses, they like, I've seen them on salvia, I've seen them on my veronica, I've seen them on some campanulas that I have. I've seen them on lots of different things. Keep your eye out for them around here because we have the perfect climate for them, hot and dry. They love it here. Kim Kimball said, perfect timing, just found these little buggers on my boxwoods too. Is there a way to know the difference in a spider mite web versus a regular spider web? Spider mite webs are incredibly fine. Like, you would know the difference if you saw them right up next to each other. A regular spider web, they're a little bit thicker strands, and spider mites, like, it's almost like a screen, like a piece of gauzy fabric almost. It's an incredibly fine web. And if you have a bad infestation, like I've had hydrangeas up here that have got it, and they'll completely cover. It's almost like a cotton candy on the hydrangea bloom. It's just completely covered with the webbing. Paige said, I'm going to treat one tree. If I don't get all the generation this fall, will all the mites just die out over the winter? No. Should I retreat the same tree in the spring to prevent a second outbreak? Yes, because eggs will harbor over in the bark, in the ground underneath the area. They can winter over. So it's something, if you've dealt with a really bad problem, like we know these boxwoods had it this year, and we are doing a 6-week spray regimen this fall. We've already done 3 weeks of the spraying. We have 3 weeks to go, but it's something I will probably want to preventatively spray. Not early in the spring. They like heat. They don't really show up until it's hot. So it's something we'll probably pick up at the beginning, mid part of summer, and do preventative treatments just so that we don't deal with any kind of outbreak should there be any mites that are left. Erin said, off topic, but will you be doing a Christmas tour of your parents' beautiful garden center? Probably so, and I'll probably go down there and work another day when they're setting up because it's always a fun, festive thing. Cynthia said, only Laura and Garden Answer can make bug control fun or interesting. What's your least favorite garden topic? I mean, there's a lot of things I've done, like composting, but I'm not super interested in it. Irrigation, done a lot of irrigation stuff, and you know, I like it when it's working. Like, if I know what to do to fix it, it's fine, and if it's surface level, like drip irrigation. But when we have to dig down and dig to fix a broken pipe, like I broke a main water pipe when I was planting a boxwood around our new circular pathway, brick pathway on the west side here. And it was so close to the pathway where I broke this pipe that I couldn't excavate the area good enough. Like I couldn't get it a big enough hole, and so I ended up having to do like a 6-foot hole, like a 6-foot run, and so I could get enough flex on the pipe, like a couple feet down, to fix it. That kind of stuff really, like, and that would probably be, like, Aaron's always telling me, why didn't you film that? People would like to see, like, what happens when you break a pipe, but I always get so mad. Like, not a good time to film when I'm breaking pipes like that, because I get so irritated about stuff like that. Renee said, for each week, do I spray the plant every day or just once? Just once. So, like, with our regimen, we were doing spinosad one week, we spray on a Friday. We were doing neem the next week on a Friday, and then we were doing malathion the following Friday, so just once a week. Cheryl said, are there things we can do as we prepare our garden beds for winter that would be helpful for the next growing season? Yes. Mulching is a really good thing to do in the fall, and leaf mulching, as you are picking up leaves, if your trees are kind of like dropping them not at all in one big mass, if you can run your lawnmower over the leaves and then take the leaf shreds from your lawnmower bag and top dress flower beds or your raised beds with it, oh, that is such a good thing, because it helps suppress weeds, it helps keep moisture in your soil, and then because they're all shredded down into a finer shred, they'll break down a lot quicker and they'll enrich your soil greatly. We did that to our raised beds last year, and I swear it is one of the key components, along with our land and seed compost and starter fertilizer, that has helped the garden space become so successful this year. So that's really good. Also, just staying up on your weeding, because weeds don't quit completely growing. Even when it's cold out, their roots are still going for it underneath the soil, and they'll just like establish themselves bigger. So keep on top of that. Make sure to keep things watered. And I know like it's getting cooler out, so it's not something that you think about or really have to do as much, which is really nice, but especially newly planted things, got to keep them saturated. Even if you don't think it needs it, new stuff really needs to be kept moist. And if you have a really dry winter, like sometimes we'll have a winter where it'll snow once and it'll go away real quick, and then the rest of the winter is just cold and windy. Really good idea to go out and splash water on containers. We do ours every 2 weeks through the winter, and then anything that you planted in the fall. Give it a little bit of moisture so the root ball doesn't dry out. And the last video we put up was we gave away 75 flower bouquets, and that was a super fun project. It's something I've been waiting to do. I maybe could have done it a little bit earlier this season, but it just worked out to do it now. My goal with our cut flower garden space is not to sell anything. I really just wanted to have flowers to cut for our house, to give away to friends and family, and then with surplus to give it away in some capacity. And I'd originally thought, I think this winter I was telling you about the plans and dreams for that space, and I wanted to make bouquets and take them to hospitals and nursing homes and places like that. And our area though is still in pretty strict lockdown, especially the nursing homes and hospitals. And Aaron even called a couple of the nursing homes in the area and never got contacted back. You even talked to the managers, didn't you? And they never really...
No, I was trying to get a hold of the managers.
You were trying to get...
I didn't get calls back.
Yeah, so we really didn't... We weren't able to make contact with the managers of the nursing homes. And so I was trying to figure out a way to give away flowers in a way that made people feel comfortable. And so we just thought, you know what? Let's just put together some bouquets. I'll ask my mom to help. And we'll just do what we can, you know? I actually feel like we have enough. We could do that whole day over again. It does take quite a bit of time to do it, so I don't know if we're gonna actually get to it, but I've been trying to, like, I just told all of our neighbor ladies, I'm like, please come over and cut. You can come cut flowers anytime. So hopefully they take me up on that, and I want to like deliver to more neighbors and things like that as the season winds down. But so my mom and she came over and helped me one evening. We were able to make 22 bouquets. We only ended up having like a little over an hour of time that night. And then the next morning we got together again, made more bouquets, and then took them down, set up in front of a local coffee shop, and just gave them away. And it took like 45 minutes to get rid of all of them, which we ended up with 75 bouquets that we gave away. It was a total mood lifter. Like, you do this because you want to bless somebody else. Like, I wanted to lift other people's spirits, and it ends up lifting your own. I think that is the best way to feed, like, your soul, is to give something like that. It was just amazing. Anyway, Christina said, such a small thing can really brighten someone's day. Thank you for sharing this video and your kindness. Can I ask how you know when your pumpkins are ready to be picked? So we are actually harvesting pumpkins this afternoon. Erin is going to help me, and I'll go through all of it. So that video should be up sometime this week, but we'll go through like how to tell when your pumpkins and squash are ripe, all the things to look for. And then I'm hoping, like, I can't really see what's going on in that space because it's planted so thick, I can see some stuff popping up though, like I can see some orange pumpkins out there. So I really don't even know what we're going to find. It's gonna be like a treasure hunt. Gracie said, could you please link the Falco tool holder your mom had on? Yes. She's always worn that holster, and I had one for years, but I always wear tank tops that I pull way down because especially for videos, I want like to wear low things and high things because we do so much like up and down, and I don't want to be tugging on my clothes all the time. So I can't wear a holster because it's always underneath where my tank tops go. But she has been wearing hers forever. Cindy said, what kind of color of lip gloss do you wear? I wear Carmex all the time. 3 and 2 Art said, will you be selling your garden answer face masks? No, those were actually made for us from a gal, her name's Joyce. She lives in California. And I opened up that package in our last mail time, and there was a garden answer mask and a little one for Benjamin that had a tractor, and then another one that had a flower on it. And I thought, oh, this is a perfect day to wear this one. So anyway, we aren't planning on doing that, but thank you, Joyce from California, for making that for us. Christine said, your mom is so good-natured, always smiling and laughing. Did she ever get tough with you and your siblings? I just can't imagine that. Imagine it. She always was, and she is a good mom, but she was also a really good parent. Like, she kept us going in the way we needed to go. She wasn't overbearing, but she knew when to discipline and when not to, and like, she just kept us going in the direction we needed to. And I think I was the hardest one for her to parent. She and I are incredibly similar, and I was the more strong-willed one out of my brother, sister, and I. And so I'm actually thankful that I was parented as hard as I was, because I needed that. And I don't know like where I would be had I not been parented that way. So I, at the time, didn't love it. And I'm super thankful for it now. Kim said, anyone else currently trying to figure out how to fit more cutting flowers in their space, or is it just me? I think that there's a lot of people who are wanting to do that. I mean, cut flower gardening has been going strong for a long, long time. It's just fun to see all the excitement, and it really doesn't take a huge space. Like, honestly, does not take a huge space, because it doesn't take that many flowers to make a bouquet. So if you just dedicated like a raised bed, I mean, that's what I was doing last year. I was growing zinnias in my raised beds in my vegetable garden, like kind of in between crops, and just loving it, because I would go out and cut a handful of zinnias and it looked like I hadn't cut a single dang thing because they are so prolific. So yeah, I think it's just fun. And like my sister-in-law she planted some dahlias and some zinnias and some things she had never planted before, and she's excited about it. It's just fun to see that surge of energy toward flowers. Beverly said, what a thoughtful and caring gesture. Have you thought about using some of the people in your church or community to form a little volunteer group next year? Yes, in fact, when I was initially formulating the plan on how to do the cut flower day, I thought, well, maybe I could have some of my friends come over, but then it got a little bit, I was trying to make sure that we could do distancing and all that, and it would be really hard to do behind a little table, and I think it was just good doing a low-key version of it with just my mom and I this year, and kind of like working out, how long does this actually take? How much time do we need to plan for this? How many people, if we wanted to do this on, you know, a much bigger scale, now I can kind of plan better. So I think it was good. And the last question was from Booth Goodies. Maybe I haven't been car shopping, but I was very impressed with the Stair system at the back of your truck. Is that a new standard for pickups? I don't think it's standard, is it? It's like an add-on. The little step in the back of the truck to the tailgate.
Yeah, it's certainly not standard.
But
I don't know. Yeah.
It's just an extra feature you can request.
Yeah.
You can like replace your tailgate with one that has, like my dad has a bigger truck than we have, and his doesn't have that, and I can't even get up in that. I can't even jump up in his truck. I would need that step. So it's something for his, like if I had your truck, I'd have to have that step. But we bought the white truck as kind of an older-ish, like a 2015 or something. Anyway, it had the step in it, which is so amazing. Because even though I can still like launch myself into the back of the truck, it's not as easy as it was 15 years ago. So the step has really saved us a lot. And that is it for this week's recap video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope it was helpful, and I hope you all have a really fantastic week. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.